And if you're just tuning in, two unlikely mates, celebrity stylist Elliot Garno and Norm Smith medalist Isaac Smith are here to tell you what is what.
Hey, no Utes in the Valet.
Coming up.
And I thought and flirted with the idea of bringing it up.
In the back pocket.
Says a gentleman of the highest order, and I'm not actually saying that with any sarcasm whatsoever.
No, I'm interested to see what he says.
Like, that's kind of what gets me off.
Tom Hawkins. Hello, Tej.
AJ?
Well, stylish man. Like, we are not just footy, we're certainly fashion. And look at the hair. The comb's going through. He is a guy that always carried, I was surprised when I got to Geelong, those old school combs that like your grandfather would carry around in his back pocket.
Elvis.
And you just see him walking around, slicking it back.
It's been switched out recently. I've got two girls, obviously Arabella and Mimi, and I've grabbed one of their old hairbrushes, and I thought and flirted with the idea of bringing it up.
In the back pocket?
No, bringing the whole toiletry bag up. Bit of deodorant,
Mate,
just freshen up. Oh, I'm feeling good.
It's tight around the ears.
What's that?
The hair?
Yeah, well, they're big roadblocks.
Izzy, that's what happens when people actually get to the barber once in their lifetime, which I'm still waiting for you to come to this podcast groomed.
I will. Oh, I had a shave yesterday.
Barely. And I actually was going to shave, but then I thought, well, you won't, so I'll get away with it.
Okay, hold on. So, talking things that are being carried a lot, I brought you a present.
Yep.
Because if you're carrying a comb, there's a lot of young children in this country who are carrying one of these. And I promise this to your daughter, Belle. What is that?
From what I can understand, that's a Labubu, correct?
And what is a Labubu, Tej? Do you know what that is?
I don't know. Like, they're just, as they present, little dolls that you hang either on your school bag or something of the like. But
well, this won't shock you. I didn't know what a Labubu was until I met Elliot.
Well, we didn't see... correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't see anyone at the footy club carrying a Labubu on their bag, but
Boys, times
Belle's
are changing.
got into it.
I saw on the Swans social media throughout the course of the last footy season that the boys were taking Labubus into the, what do you call them, change rooms?
They do live in Eastern Sydney.
Change room? Yeah.
They live in Eastern Sydney. I'm not sure that'd fly in rural Geelong.
Who
don't quiz me on my AFL specifics. This is a podcast about learning, Tej. I don't know who was it. No, we'll pull it up. We'll find it. And some of the Swans
Brody
boys.
Grundy.
So they were doing interviews with their
Brody? Could be
Labubu.
Brody.
Yeah, Brody.
Yeah, let's throw names. Brody Grundy, Isaac Heaney, Callum Mills. No, Callum certainly not.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, Dane Rampy wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I don't
Ollie
know.
Florent?
Yeah,
maybe?
potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of them that could.
Anyway, that's for Belle.
Thank you very much.
Is it real or fake?
Well, that's a real one. But we spoke about potential fakes. That is a real one, I promise you. But, I tell you what.
He's going to repay the favour because her favourite TV show at the moment's Lilo and Stitch, and she saw one, and there's been conversations going back and forth, as you're well aware, and she really wants to get you a Lilo and Stitch. So there'll be something coming back your way. I just don't have it.
Do you know what the most expensive Labubu?
No.
Is that how you say it? Sulphur?
Yeah, Labubu. No, go on. Humour me.
It was like in Asia somewhere. I think it was China. It was like 150 grand.
No way.
Yeah.
150
So
grand
that
for
could be
Labubu.
a collector's item, Tom.
Yeah,
I know you
wow.
like investing.
Yeah, absolutely. So what, you reckon I should keep it for myself?
Well, maybe.
Now, boys, you've been together very, very recently. So I feel like I'm intruding on a conversation that we had off air about a very fun
Be
and
careful what you bring up on
relatively large weekend with the hybrid between Izzy, you and a teammate of yours bringing together a tradition between the Hawthorn and the Geelong Football Club.
Yeah.
Well, you got to, the end. Like, what do you want me to explain the weekend? One wasn't invited and two, I didn't play for either of those teams.
I'm not sure we're going to talk about it too much, but no, John Segler and I, two teammates of both Hawk and Hawthorn players. When Segs retired, he decided to start a lunch and bring the two together, and it's an annual occasion, and we did it on the weekend out at Rosemont Stud, so it was a good little day, Hawk.
Yeah, it was. It's. I mean, Geelong and Hawthorn have had this epic rivalry for probably dating back to the 80s.
Yeah, 80s.
And then we were a part of it through.
Why the rivalry?
Oh, they clashed in this probably the most famous grand final.
Yeah, 89 grand final.
Where Hawthorn won by 6 points, high scoring, unbelievable game of footy. And
I reckon two Hawthorn players went to hospital with punctured lungs today.
Dermy and Dipper.
Gary Ablett Sr. won the Norm Smith.
Yeah, there was just a lot of spice to it that there's no longer. Like, we played through, we'll probably started 2008 through to currently now. Not the heat and the physicality that it once was, but they were unbelievable games to play. And like Hawthorn were the best side for a period, and so were the Cats. And to think that you can sort of there was Ryan Showmakers was there who we played on each other, so we didn't necessarily hate each other, but we were playing on each other, so there was a bit of a dislike there for a period.
How did the Vinos go down with somebody who was previously an enemy and is now a friend?
No, absolutely fine. Everyone got along really well. Like there's a lot of connection. Like if you go back far enough, but it was fun. Like they were really good, particularly led by Jared Ruffhead and Jordan Lewis, like who I've got to know a little bit on a personal note, but they were all time, just the back and forth, the humour.
You know Ruffy's favourite part of the whole day, and I don't think you'll know that this was his favourite part, but he was talking about it Sunday morning, that we saw a framed jersey of Geelong's team of the century, and Hawk had a couple of beers under his belt at that point in time, and he was just sort of scanning his way through the jumper, and he's like, got him covered. Got him covered. Got him covered. I think there was one player there that had you covered for games and goals if you combine them.
Yeah. Well, Gary Ablett Senior, obviously, he clearly sits like at the top of the tree.
But he only played 200 and something games.
Yeah, 200. I think he played 240, 47, something like that.
Doug Wade
obviously
kicked a lot of goals, but you played 100 and something more games than him.
I don't know. I mean, maybe in time.
He's not an arrogant man.
It was an old team of the century.
He's actually on the as one of my oldest friends, I can say, is a gentleman of the highest order, and I'm not actually saying that with any sarcasm whatsoever. Now, before you put my glass eye to sleep with all this football like intricacy, I'm going to move on to some spicy side of the football, because I want to know, like, obviously you've just finished, right? You're at Fox Footy now. You retired last year.
Yes.
Okay, good. Just making sure I got my stats right there. Yeah, last football season.
Yeah, end of 24.
Okay, fine. No, I did have my stats right. Mm-hmm. But like, okay, so looking back now with 12 months hindsight, like, did you have any kind of things in your career that got you through a long season? Like, you were at Geelong your entire career. The seasons are long. You know, obviously there's good and there's bad. Did you get stuck into a show? Was there a playlist? Did you have a pump up? Was it something at home, family life? Like, what was it?
Driving home past any particular shops.
Weird hobbies.
Yeah, the camel, as it's referred
like
to.
The thirsty camel.
Right, okay, got it.
In our household. Look, I think certainly, like, there's, like, because I played for so long, I tend to break my career down in sort of 3 different parts. But the back end, starting to have a family and kind of living out in the farm where we currently live now, I think that brings the most and most favourite memories. So, like, even just little things, being able to drop the kids off at school and pick up at school, I've always loved. But I just had a really good grasp of being in the game for such a long period of time of like what I needed to do from day to day to be able to perform on weekends. So I look back at the last the last 5 or 6 years, albeit take COVID out of the mix, which was a challenge for everyone. And it was certainly where I had a really good understanding of what I need to do and what I need to do to perform. So I love that part of my career at Geelong.
Any moments where you thought I could give this all away?
Well, towards the back end, clearly when I was working out what the next step looked like, I think that as a competitive person, you got to remove yourself from your environment a little bit. So to make that decision in hindsight in the time it felt hard, but then stepping back out was an easy one. But I had periods in my career, like, so if I go back to 2011, halfway through the season. So we won the premiership that year. We beat Collingwood in a grand final, but I got dropped halfway through the season back to the VFL. I'd really struggled with inconsistencies and was not so much struggling mentally, but just I just found the game hard. I just couldn't sort of push through from being a role player to a really consistent player that performed each week, and got dropped for the VFL for like 4 weeks and found my way back into the side via a suspension to one of my, ended up being one of my great mates and mentors, Cam Mooney. During that period of time, I was like, footy maybe is just not going to quite work out for me. And that was a real feeling, because I thought I sort of feel like I was half-arsing it a bit so 2010 and 11 season. And I just didn't know if it was going to be what ultimately I thought and imagined it would be. So there were certainly periods in my career. Also, when my mum passed away, 2015, like, that was a really tough couple of years. I struggled to go through the grief of that whilst playing football in a public space. So, yeah, it certainly hasn't been all smooth sailing, but, there've been great learning opportunities, and what you learn there is, and I'm sure you and we reflect on it all the time. Like, you go through some hard moments, but it prepares you really well for whatever life throws at you next. So some great learning experiences. I'd love for my mum clearly to be here, but like, it teaches you a lot when you go through adversity in a public space.
You catapult forward a decade, right? So you've now retired, and there's been so much more of your career post those timestamps of 2011 and 2015. What, as a footballer that's now retired but left such a massive impact on the game, what do you want to be remembered for?
Well, I think I always, particularly the football side of things, all I ever wanted to do was be consistent. So I mentioned it just before, like where I struggled to find consistency. I wanted to be elite at what my craft was, which is, and to bore you, Elliot, was the key position player ahead of the ball. That's
Well, he wasn't going to be playing on the wing.
Yeah, well.
Still means nothing to me.
Yeah.
I thought that was a chicken order at KFC.
But which it is. And like, I'm not that athletically gifted. So I had some attributes, but like, I just wanted to be really good at what I did was as a full forward. I wanted to be consistent and a good teammate. So I always tried to have fun. And I think that's probably, certainly I can speak for you or on both your behalf. It's why we've got such a great connection, because I like having fun with what I do. So that's quite broad, but I think they're probably the overarching things that I'd like to be remembered for.
So you've been done for 12 months.
Yeah.
I've thought about this a lot, so I thought I'd ask the question, because it's not something you necessarily ask privately. But what's your perception now of the industry now you've stepped away? And I know you're still involved in media and different things, but I feel like you have some light bulb moments post-finishing.
Yeah. Oh, look, I mean, when you're in it, you're just so engrossed in it, and you have to be. Like, if you want to be able to help your team press forward and compete at the real pointy end of the season, like, you've got to be all in. So you're just so engrossed in it. But you take a step back, and you're not physically involved with the club, the day-to-day stuff, the decision-making, the performance element. Like, I'm a supporter, but there's not as much sort of love and care for the game like I was as a player. So it is nice to be out. Like, I'm really comfortable with my decision to the point where, if I tried to play, and even watching footy this year, just like, it was so fast, so physical, and albeit I've let my myself
Hold on.
slip
I'm gonna
just
jump in here.
Why is it so funny?
Because I saw you play on Easter weekend in Finley, and to be honest, you were best on ground. But then I'm not sure.
I tell you what, it looked like it was after Easter Sunday.
Give him a break, mate. He's just had his first European holiday in 15 years.
I don't know if I played a game for Old Melburnians here with a couple of schoolmates.
No, I did see that. Looked like you had a potato sack on for shorts.
I said one thing. I said, make sure you get the biggest jumper possible, which it wasn't. I think it was only double XL, which is, you'd swim in that. But
I think I had it on grand final night at the Flower Drum.
But yeah, I did. I partook in a couple of games, which was good fun. But it also cemented the fact that I did make the right decision in retiring.
Well, I reckon this is where it's a nice little point to transition into fashion, because...
Well, I wanted to just ask you before we jump into fashion, because, like, obviously, like, when you hear from an AFL footballer...
You're engrossed in footy now?
I am now. I actually really am genuinely intrigued, because we've never really had these conversations either.
No.
But when
go your hardest.
There's so much like forward facing, like when you're speaking to media, whether you're being interviewed after a game, it's generally quite serious. Mm-hmm. Like, what's your most humorous memory of your career?
Yeah, I think the social element where you're like away from the club. Like, we touched on the weekend spent with the Hawthorn guys, but like Mad Mondays and Wacky Wednesdays, albeit it's in still a pretty controlled environment, but they're just some of the best memories, socialising where the season's done, be it good or bad, you can get together and have some really honest conversations that lead into sometimes some pretty dark places, but they're just
some blokes don't come back from a Mad
They
Monday.
don't, yeah, and then
How are the tails between the legs after a Mad Monday? Is it like the demons? I can't show up to the club again. I'm too mortified.
Well, it's like you go from playing and competing, and it's okay when you win them.
Yeah,
it's
when you
like
win, it's fine.
it's unbelievable. But the feeling of losing or getting knocked out or not making a final series, and celebrating what, albeit is still a successful enough year on paper, although you didn't achieve what you want. So there's a bit of it's a bit of an odd feeling. But once you get in, have a few beers from sort of 10 a.m. onwards, you start to loosen up.
It'd actually be amiss of me before we jump on, not to ask about Emma's impact on your career because, my wife obviously had a huge impact on mine, and we have a lot of female listeners.
Yeah.
So I reckon touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, well, Emma and I have been together since we were 17, so all the way back to boarding school days. She was just down the road at Melbourne Girls Grammar. I was Melbourne Boys Grammar.
All above board then at boarding school, was it?
Naturally.
In terms of what?
Domain.
No sneaking out at night or...
No, there was none of that.
They go to have a cheeky cocktail at the bot on Domain Road. What are you talking about?
No,
They're in the most,
there's a bowl of
the
chips.
chicest location in Melbourne.
There was a bowl of chips. I was on a Borders budget. But yeah, we met at school. We were friends for a long time, and then started dating at the start of year 12. So she's been on the football journey and played a huge role right the way through in terms of she chased her own career, studied and worked in Melbourne, then transitioned to moving down to Geelong, which was not something she necessarily ever wanted to do or could see herself doing. But she moved down. Ultimately, the commute became too much for her. She lived and worked in Geelong, and then we had a family. But she's been like unbelievable in terms of just understands me really well, knows how I tick, knows how to support me. It's been unbelievable having her along the journey. And you often hear, I think people just generally in sport talk about their partners and how much they impact them, but it's probably not until you like I matured a bit from beyond 28, and it coincided with having a family, how much I appreciated having her on the journey with me, because you're ultimately employed by the Geelong Football Club, and you've got their best interests at heart, but it can feel like sometimes it takes over your life.
But you can feel owned sometimes.
Yeah, and she was always so good at stripping that back and helping me find the balance of having fun and still maintaining a real connection with my schoolmates and up in Melbourne, and being able to go back home to Finley. So, I think we both play an important part in each other's life, but certainly, she's been unbelievable along the journey and will continue to be.
So we talk a lot on No Utes in the Valet about this hybrid between footy and fashion. Obviously, it's the premise, and nowadays more so than ever, the footy players are crossing over into fashion. But you're an early adopter, because how many years were you an ambassador for Rod and Gun?
7 or 8 years, I reckon.
When you saw your phone light up and it was Rod and Gun, did you think they got the wrong bloke? Like, what's the go?
Yeah, well, I think initially, it was a partnership, and look, we still continue to speak to the team at Rod and Gun, because they were unbelievable to work with. Like, I loved them. Went on some amazing experiences. Went over to New Zealand, to Queenstown.
Oh, I've been in that Rod and Gun bar.
Yeah, the Lodge Bar.
A few whiskies in there.
Unbelievable cocktails in there.
I remember walking
if you're ever
in,
there,
don't really remember walking out.
Yeah, well, it can do that. Like, picture, you've been to Queenstown. It's like one of the most beautiful places.
I've actually never been to Queenstown.
Well, it's one of the most beautiful places
on the lake
in the world.
there.
Oh, amazing. Like, you sit out the front. Oh, spectacular. So we did some really cool stuff. But yeah, like, I don't know, it's probably one of those opportunities that comes along. I was never necessarily that interested. I like dressing well given the opportunity, because we walk as players, like, the fashion sense for most players at Geelong is footy shorts and a t-shirt, and that's about as fashionable as it kind of gets. There's a lot of tracky pants, tracky shorts, tees, hoodies, and Ugg boots and Crocs. So
whose advice would you totally ignore from the next teammate? Who is?
Well, there's two that really just jumped to mind for me. I'll be
I
interested
didn't
to see
ask
who
you.
it is. No, I'm interested to see what he says.
Okay.
So it'll be Jeremy Cameron.
Yeah, one.
No, you got to, and why?
And why? Because, even just from a practical sense, like on social media, like, he wears Crocs around like everywhere, and I think there's a place for Crocs. Like, I'm all for Crocs, but like, even like, I remember I've had conversations with him about, like, he does farming, like, drives his tractor, feeds hay, like, gets on the chainsaw, builds bonfires, and he's always doing his fucking Crocs. And I'm like, this guy's like,
mate, he's going to lose a foot with a chainsaw.
So important. And I'm like,
just as long as it's not his left foot.
A practical sense, and just from what comes out, I think Jeremy Cameron is one of the worst. I don't know.
Jezza.
Yeah. Great guy, though.
He scrubbed out quite well at the Brownlow when we interviewed him. I thought he looked quite handsome.
Yeah, he did. Indy looked great. Indy
Yeah,
looked better.
looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
Come on,
Well,
Izzy, give me a
it's the
hint.
blokes
Give
that
me
are
a
on the
hint.
most money. Like these two blokes, Jeremy Cameron
what,
and Patrick
Danger.
Dangerfield.
Yeah.
Like they've got.
Oh, Danger's not
they've-
well dressed.
They've got enough money to live for a long time.
Danger
And
goes
they
okay
just-
sometimes.
Sometimes Danger scrubs up really well when he
Yeah.
goes to an event.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But his day-to-day setup.
happy to. He's got a couple of velvet.
Yeah, he does.
jackets, both black. I reckon he's got a maroon one somewhere.
Yeah, I reckon he's one of the better dressers when there's a big function.
Yeah.
But just the day-to-day activity, you'd be horrified.
I'll tell you.
Talking-
I'll tell you who's not far behind them, and that's one of our. Maybe it's a coach thing, but
Oh, he's still wearing his Russell Athletic gear from Brisbane in 1999.
being a coach sometimes would let it slip a bit, but that's okay.
I sat next to him at your wedding and he scrubbed up well.
No, yeah. Again,
Maybe he does black tie. Do you know what? Like,
But
for all
maybe-
the lads listening, black
maybe
ties,
it's-
black ties are
scrubs
very
up
easy
very
uniform.
well, Chris.
Yeah,
He does,
yeah.
and he slicks back the hair and the stubble. My wife's a big fan.
Yeah.
Scotty.
It's very easy to look good in black tie because it is pretty uniform.
It's black.
Black suit, white shirt, black tie, hair back. Very easy.
And the Geelong vibe, I think it sort of throws, like you just
Yeah.
sort of transport into, I don't know how you transitioned from Hawthorn and living in inner suburbs to Geelong, but there's something just a little bit more relaxed about
Well,
the environment that you play into.
I transitioned fine because I never got out of Coonamunra, even living in Hawthorn. But
Still to this day.
transitioning, but no, the boys did put a lot more effort into their appearance in Melbourne, and I guess you guys have a very close mutual friend in, I think I'll get the name right, Dale Cheeseman.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Dale.
Oh my God, he is going to froth this
Well,
mention.
I hear Dale may have been styled by the one and only.
Yes.
And may have thrown just a little bit of money in the kitty just for Elliot to work his magic. And I hear someone else around this table might be looking for an opportunity like that.
Well, I went to overseas with Dale and his beautiful wife, Gemma, and the kids, and we spent 2 weeks in Greece. And he did, in fact...
I was employed. I was fully employed.
Yep. And he told us all about it. And he
For free, by the way.
No, I thought you charged him.
FOC. No, we never charge family. FOC.
No,
But I said he needed to give me a budget. Mm-hmm. I was like, geez, mate, Blind Freddy could do a better job in your wardrobe, mate. I need $5,000. Just give me $5,000. I'll take you. Yes, that does sound like a lot of money, but he was going away for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So, I needed to do everything from
My whole
going out
wardrobe
for
wouldn't be worth
fancy
$5,000.
dinners in the evening to, beachwear, blah, 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 whatever. So I was like, give me $5,000. We went shopping. We did absolutely everything. We rehauled his wardrobe and he absolutely loved it. And now I can't shake him.
No,
He's
no.
texting me every other day. I'm
but
going to this.
you
I'm
know-
going to that. I'm like, I set it up for you. It's formulaic, mate. White top, black pants.
We have a lot of female listeners, and I reckon that is one thing that if wives are looking to do something for their husbands and they want to spruce them up, and you don't get the opportunity to jump in with a celebrity stylist every day, but there are people out there that do that. But my concern for Hawk is, and I'm thinking of The Blind Side, Sandra Bullock, like the big store. Like, where do you take the big fella to style him?
Yeah.
There's a store called, what's it called? Johnny Big. Johnny Big. We'll go to Johnny Big.
What
Chic
sort of,
threads.
so like in
No, we'll do it,
terms
we'll
of
do it.
where do they fit in with P. Johnson? Where he
They're
took
probably
Cheese?
just a few 100 kilometres behind.
Okay. Okay.
Hey,
Well, could we do it?
Yeah,
could we book
we're
it
done.
in?
It's on the record now. We'll do it.
Or we might create a
We'll
bit
do
of
it for the lady
content
intimate
around that, I
Easy, you
reckon.
can come too because you can
Yeah.
bring your notebook. Teach, do you reckon that your partnership with Rod and Gun, like, did you learn anything about the fashion industry? Obviously, it's an industry that you weren't ever going to work in, but did you feel like you learned anything about my industry?
In terms of, look, I learned how big and how much the retail game rides the wave of certain pressures around the country. My wife Emma, she's has a kids clothing line as well. So
Shout out to Homegrown, incredible stuff,
exactly,
and
Homegrown
absolutely
kids.
gorge.
Actually, I
So-
saw some photos the other day.
Yeah, your son Pierce was actually modelling.
Yeah. Reese and Kirsty's
Fourth child. So yeah, look, I've learned a lot from my experience in terms of particularly seeing my wife Emma and her good friend and schoolmate Penny Brown start the business, like and how challenging the industry is to crack, to build up, to create your brand and style within that chosen sort of field that you're targeting. So, I mean, in terms of fashion, though, like so used to for a long period of time wearing, footy shorts and training gear that it's. I always liked being able to dress nice given the occasion. So and play around with it because it was always blue and white. That's what I wore into training. So.
Nothing wrong with
That's
that.
what you're wearing right now. Jeez, he's wearing right now.
Blue. Yeah,
You got a white T-shirt on?
Yeah, it's
There we
simple. I only threw the hoodie in just in case.
It's
I
been
think I
half his
spilled-
life, mate. He can't just
Yeah, the
associate.
concerning
He
thing is
can't-
I've got a grey hoodie sitting in the car right now that I
You thought about bringing. Well, it didn't help that I spilt a bit of coffee on my white shirt coming down. So, but yeah, there's been some and just the development, like the personal development you get from meeting people in the industry, challenges they face. Like I really enjoyed that because you can get so engrossed in football that you think that is just the be all and end all, and learning from people and how they navigate certain challenges is I found really interesting.
One of probably your biggest escapes from footy was your obviously like the heritage of your upbringing, country life, and then obviously now on your incredible property down south outside Geelong. What do you think that you've learnt about, or you've learnt from farming rather, that you could never have learnt from footy?
Well, resilience, but in a completely different way. So my upbringing, grew up in southern New South Wales, small country town called Finley. It's about 2,000 people. My family's very connected in the area in terms of third generation farming family. It's continuing to live on through cousins in and around the area. But during the early 2000s, Finley, or the region, was hit with a pretty kind of severe drought, and just watching my parents navigate through that was, even as a young kid, was and you might remember it a bit as well,
clearly,
and how challenging it was, not only for just farmers in general, but like these towns that we grow up in, Cooperundra, Tokemall, Finley, like that they live and breathe off what happens in the ag sector pretty much. So seeing my parents go through that, sending me away to boarding school, and my siblings at the time, like now being parents and navigating certain things, schooling, living location, careers, watching and reflecting on what mum and dad did through that period, and a lot of people in the industry, because it can be an isolating industry being in ag and particularly farming, but watching them navigate that has been amazing to reflect on, and certainly used a bit of that through my football career. But in particular now, the next phase of life where, I'm finding that next passion that I want to chase. Certainly recall a bit of that sort of stuff from then.
A lot of resilience.
Yeah, a lot of it does. Country people,
regional Australia,
and you
some of
notice
the most resilient people in the world.
Well, you know that just with how list managers put their list together, that the country kids will always be sort of pigeonholed into that resilience pocket. But you've been city for a long time, and we're obviously both country guys. You've got a regional property.
Well, I mean, like my dad would say that he's from Tokemall, New South Wales, which is Finley's neighbour.
So effectively, we're all
by country New South Wales standards.
Effectively, we're all New South Wales boys around the table.
I mean, I don't know if I can claim it, because if somebody listening is going to be like, "Oh my God, it's not from fucking Tokemall," but I have deep family roots in southern regional New South Wales.
So what's the one thing that you value or miss, or probably value or miss about regional rural Australia?
In terms of like
whether it's
the community,
the community, the people,
the bakery.
I think
the bakery, the butcher in Tokemall,
The butcher in
Haynes Butcher.
Yeah, somehow Elliot worked for.
Did you really?
Yeah, in COVID. Don't you remember that?
No.
When the fashion industry
Imagine walking into the
closed
butcher
down
and
overnight, I went to work for Mick Haynes at the butcher in Toke.
Sales would have gone up.
And I cannot tell
What was on your apron?
I don't even remember what was on. I tell you what, though, all I remember was being so fucking cold, because I got there early and I had to get the meat out, and I was the number one cutlet crummer that Mick Haynes has ever had at the Haynes Butchery in Tokemall. So anybody who's passing through Toke, make sure you pop in to the Haynes Butchery. I can't guarantee the crumb cutlet's going to be as good as when I was there back in 2020, but let me give you the hot tip, guys. My hands nearly fucking froze off. It was so cold.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah,
That's what I remember.
good. What's your favourite cut of steak? We'll get back to the people.
I'm porterhouse. I love thick
porterhouse?
cut.
I'm porterhouse as well.
Porterhouse, yeah.
No,
And I'm
not
eating
enough-
rare at the
not
moment.
enough fat through it.
Yeah, well, it depends where you go, but I'm just and it's that's been passed on from old man. It's funny how you start to just turn into certain sides of your parents. It's just like
I know. I'm
all
dreading
of a
it.
sudden just adopted this thick cut porterhouse steak that I remember Dad always ordering when we in Finley, which is also the Haynes family butchery as well.
Yeah.
So,
So what do you miss about country New South Wales? Or
Me working in the butcher shop.
yeah, I'd love to walk into Haynes shop and Elliot be there. But I've always found the community element like really hard to replace. So even living in a place like Geelong, went to boarding school here in Melbourne and love Melbourne as a place, love it. But Geelong, I never fully felt like I was a part of the community. And in terms of even moving out to the farm where we are in Barrable, it's like we were at the local footy club, and I really wanted sort of Bell and Mim to get involved in netball and or Auskick if that was where their interests lay, but ultimately it hasn't been. But I sort of, there's a lot of Geelong players on the list that are from Geelong and have that connection with their local footy and netball clubs, and Geelong is a very welcoming place, and it has been home for 19 years. So I feel a part of the community, but like that element of being, and you saw it up at Finley,
For sure.
Good Friday
this year,
It's just like going back there and being around, like again, generational farmers like the Hawkins and just people you idolise. So like, and again, like I'm not speaking out of school because you would have felt the same thing, but when I was growing up, I loved the Cats. Like my old man played for the Cats, and whenever I could go and watch them, I'd give the opportunity. I'd absolutely come down to Victoria and watch them. But like, because I didn't get to do it that much, I idolised guys at the Finley Footy Club. So like OC over the road. Like I remember watching OC play for the Finley Seniors, and I was like, wow, how good's this guy? Like I want to be just like OC. Like back flanker, back pocket, a left footer, like those.
I'm literally writing notes like send podcast S to OC. He will not call the king his cousin tomorrow.
It's like, it's so it was, that sense of community go back, and it's like even now those guys that I idolise, they've got their kids playing in the system, and it's just like that real connection, that intimate connection with the community. I just like that is just never going to be able to sort of be replaced or fulfilled. So that's what I miss.
It's a special part.
Yeah.
Like country Australia. And I know this isn't about me, but it was funny. Like as soon as you could ride your bike, it was like you had your car license in town.
Yeah.
And wherever the bikes were on the front lawn at anyone's house, you knew everyone was there, and you had no qualms in just rolling into the people's houses. And you'd never do that in the city or in Geelong as such. But you'd walk in, mum and dad would be so welcoming. There'd be food on the table. Like all we had to do was be home for dinner by dark, and just those little things, and that's what creates the community.
Yeah, and it's really hard to get a gauge on that community element, but it is absolutely something I miss.
I was going to say, I reckon as well, like having had life, like I'm very much born and raised in the city, but such a significant part of my identity comes from Tokemore, and I think that like, especially for a lot of my city friends or maybe people that I've worked with in the past, there's a common misconception about the country being quite conservative. But I've actually really, from the community in Toke and what we would call our extended Tokemore family, I've actually never felt more accepted. I think that you run into a significant amount more judgment in the city than you do in the country. And I think that's a real credit to, well, the Southern Riverina is my favourite part of the world, Toke, Finley, Denny, where Em's from. Like these are some of the most special places you can travel anywhere. But it's a really heartwarming and genuine bunch of people that live in that part of Australia. So we love everybody listening who's tuning to us from the Southern Riverina.
Absolutely, which there'll be a few.
So, mate, we see a lot of you, like, you're gauging the rain, you're counting your cattle. What's a perfect day on the farm look like for you? Even though I feel like we kind of see it on social media, what's the perfect farm day?
This time of year when the grass is green and growing, but like a nice still day, no wind, 20,
So yesterday.
20, 30 mils of rain. No, minus the 20, 30 mils of rain. Like that's kind of what I was going to say what gets me off.
Sorry, Em.
Oh, no, we'll run that.
Em can move back to Melbourne. Just leave Tom on the farm.
Eva socials.
I just like the amount of chats I'm in with people when it rains, like finding out how much. It's just like It's out of control. So that's probably my favourite day. We've got cattle at our place. Like experimented with sheep when I first moved in. Too hard.
Too hard, mate.
Don't you come from sheep
Well,
farm?
Dad's a mixed farmer.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So cropping, cattle, sheep.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Cattle. When I was growing up, they had a Angus stud, and I reckon my passion for ag came off the back of the Angus stud, which is no longer. It was dispersed back in 2000. But I just love cattle, and I feel like in terms of like the connection with Dad as well, and being away from home, like any father son or mother son relationship, you speak about all things, but it's certainly having a farming element where I'm trying to, albeit on a hobby scale, manage what I'm doing at our place in Barrawal, but then also having a lease block Camperdown way where I'm running some cows and calves as well. It's amazing like how that brings you closer together again, and particularly that happening off the back of Mum passing away and just being closer and speaking more often, and just having a broader connection outside of just football and schooling, which is what happened in the previous 15 years of my life before moving out. So a perfect day, rain, bit of cattle work, and that's about it.
Gets him off.
And probably a red
Sounds
wine.
like a right day.
Yeah,
Probably a red wine to finish.
A red wine to finish.
When the sun goes down.
I've never seen
Cheeky
anyone,
little glass of Mount Mary Pinot Noir.
well, I
just
don't
to
think I've ever seen
wash
anyone
the day down.
delete a red wine like Hawk does. He drinks it like it's air. But you got a little bit deep there. And I want to ask, moving on from that, more about life. But when you finish footy, there's an array of emotions that happens. What's the first emotion that hit you?
I think after the football season, upon reflection, I've actually felt like there's been a little bit of a residual effect. Like you get into October and my experience is that Geelong always played finals, albeit 2 years that I was on the list. And I'm not saying you can form this opinion yourself, but I'm not saying I was the difference, but maybe
I was the difference.
Maybe I was. To Geelong turning their fortunes. But no, Joel Selwood had a fair bit to do with that as well. But I had this residual feeling of the season's over, and even this year, like once the grand final was done, even though Geelong lost, I still felt like there was a bit of me that had to reflect and I don't know, I just the footy season was done, and I know I'm in it in a different capacity, but it's just a weird feeling post. So I had a little bit of that still, but I think the overarching thing when I retired was I was really excited for the next phase, which, to be honest, Isaac, I'd been shitting myself for the 8 years, 10 years prior, because all you hear when you're in the game is, some guys really struggle out of football and how you're going to cope and how you're going to find that next passion. But I don't know, I suppose mentally, like, I put so much into the game of football that I didn't really think about the next phase that much. And when I was out, it was like flicked a switch to be of a mindset where what an opportunity to be able to experience things. So travel with my family, a bit of growth in a completely different industry at a completely different level. So all of a sudden, I'm the sort of, in a footy sense, I'm the top of the tree as a senior player with lots of experience, and then all of a sudden you don't have
to be modest. You're the top of the tree. You kicked nearly 1,000 goals and played nearly 400 games.
And then I found it. I don't know. I found it really energizing going into something completely new, and being challenged in a whole different way. I've really loved my time out of the game. Would I like to be playing football again? Absolutely, but I reckon I'll have that feeling for the next 20 years. I would have loved to have been out there grand final day, but the reality for me, the game passed and I got everything I could out of it. So I could leave it like you. I know we've just spoken about it, content and happy that I've achieved pretty much what I wanted to, and my career unfolded the way it did. But yeah, I've really loved that I'm being able to grow and do something new in the next phase of life. And I haven't got it sorted. I'm still playing and tinkering around with things. Designed my year to have a go at a bit of everything, which has been a challenge to manage because everything was managed for me for a long period of time. Yeah. But, I've loved then, as much as it frustrates the hell out of my wife, learning about, I know it sounds simple, but like time management and schedule, or like organising my own schedule. And I got it wrong plenty of times, but
they're always fun conversations.
I'm also having a few wins. I'm also having a few wins along the way. So look, I've loved my 12 months out of the game.
It's crazy to think that it's been your entire life.
Yeah.
So you're essentially starting your life again, really, which I've never really thought about until you just saying that. Like, this is like Tom Hawkins V2.
Well, before you start, they say quite often a professional sportsman die twice. So it sounds silly, but
that's quite philosophical.
You finish your football career, your cricket career, your whatever it is, and that person that has become what it is and who it is, the day you retire, literally gets cut. And there are elements that continue, and you have the ability of having a big profile, and that will live on a little bit. But yeah, they say quite often as a sports person, you die twice, and you have to go through a wave of grief and all that, and then come out the other side. So,
and then you end up on a podcast with a gay celebrity stylist, and that's it. That's what
Brilliant.
They call the circle of life.
We're away.
And that's what they call the circle of life.
Hopefully, going on a little shopping spree. But yeah, it is. Yeah, it is really interesting because I often find that I'm trying to remove myself as Tom Hawkins, a footballer. I've been.
I feel you.
There was nothing quite as refreshing as when I did the Fox footy shoot at the end of last year, where a team came down from Sydney to shoot some promos, and I got called Tim Hawkins. I'm like 3 months out. I'm like, perfect, happy days. But like, there's a bit of me that just likes to remove. I know it's going to be a big part of my life, and there's the ability to monetize that and move forward, and I've created it, and I'm like really proud of that. But there's sometimes that you just like want to remove yourself and just be Tom Hawkins, the dad, or Tom Hawkins, the farmer, or the guy that's just in a new phase of his life, that's learning, experiencing things for the first time, and like for instance, like I'm doing some work with Nutrien Ag Solutions in the livestock sector. And I go to a lot of cattle sales. Went to Leongatha last week, and like sometimes I go there and I've got no idea what the market did because I'm just speaking to people about footy, and I love that element. But like, there's also part of me that leaves and thinks, oh, geez, I'd love just to go there and follow and speak to Dad after. And he said, oh, what was the cattle market like at Leongatha? And be able to tell them what actually happened. Like that.
Dad, I did kick 6 goals against them back in the day.
There's obviously clearly bits that you take away, but anyway, there's sometimes that I don't know if I'm going to get this right. Anonymity? No, what's the word?
Anonymity.
Thank you. Is would be helpful.
That's a really beautiful segue to wrap on, because you're touching a lot on yourself as a person, right? And obviously the identities are so intertwined.
Yeah.
Between you as a person and you as a footballer, but ultimately, how do you want to be most remembered as a person, not as an AFL great and a Geelong legend?
It's a great question. I think I've always looked at that from the lens of a footballer, but I think I've always loved the ability to be able to have fun, and I'll draw a lot on my football career because I've had some great success in doing that, but like certainly the always the ability to have fun and be a good friend. I think the ability to be able to share that with people and be that sort of connector and team player type element. Like I always love that about football, bringing people along for the journey. I think that there'll always be that resilience and hard work element that I'd like to be remembered for as well. But that's going to continue to evolve, but I think they're probably the overarching things that I'd like to, if I was to drop dead tomorrow, be remembered for.
Well, it's funny. I used to always say to Candace that there's not a nicer person in football than Liam Shields, who's one of my best mates from Hawthorn. Loved by the players, loved by the coaches, loved by the staff, loved by the partners, all that jazz. And then I met Hawk, and I said, I think I found someone that's nicer than Liam. You are the nicest bloke, you're not in it anymore, in football. It was, you talk to anyone in the industry that's come across Tom Hawkins and they've got nothing but a nice word to say about him. So hats off to you, mate.
And on a personal level, from someone who has spent a lot of time with you away from the football, I can guarantee hand on my heart that you're one of the funnest people I know too. So if that's your intention, if that's what you want to leave behind as your legacy, mate, you've ticked it across the board. But it's incredible. Like it's also so cool to be able to sit here with you as such an old friend of mine and be able to like peel the curtain back and hear a perspective that I haven't necessarily heard before. And I think that for everybody listening as well, it's so interesting diving below the surface. And what's been incredible about starting this podcast with as well is, of course, we all have our identities. So many people will affiliate me with my career in the fashion industry. So many people will affiliate you guys with your careers as footballers. But ultimately, like, there's so much more to us than what we put out to the public. And so if we can tell those stories here, then we hope that people are willing to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been so much fun because you just like we catch up all the time, but you just don't get the opportunity to get to this sort of level. So you know what you're doing from both friends of yours. Well done and congratulations. I know I spend a lot of time in the car up and down to Melbourne and in the countryside driving up into the Riverina. So it's been a pleasure to listen to and so fun to be on.
We're in his top 50 listens.
Well, it is
We're
funny.
number 49 of his selection of podcasts.
He did call me the other week when he was driving down the highway and said, "When's the next one
Oh,
dropping?"
there we go. That's what we want.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, we've got to leave people advice because obviously you have fans listening. So Izzy does a rapid round of questions that you can leave some hot tips for the listeners.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Iz, what do you got today?
Favourite cafe?
Yeah, rapid. Is this rapid?
It's one word answers.
Might need another coffee.
We did this
Mount Moriac corner store.
Mount Moriac corner store. Yeah, right. Favourite song?
Because it throws me back to my boarding school days. I was mad into 50 Cent.
Oh yeah.
So from
Didn't pick that.
Yeah,
I was thinking like we're getting a bit of Keith Urban. Or
I
something.
thought we were going to get Taylor Swift. He's a girl. Until Henry came along, he was a girl dad.
yeah, Get Rich and Die Trying.
Yeah, right. Not
50 Cent.
Not Hawkins on fire.
No. or most currently, I love Luke Combs.
Now you do like a sip every now and then. Favourite bar or restaurant?
My favourite one in Geelong, and it's not either. Well, it's a restaurant, but I love the Diggers.
Yeah, good.
The Gold Diggers
Solid.
Arms in Geelong. It's just like country, laid back, old school sort of vibes. Nice cold handles, and I like.
Wait, what's a nice cold handle?
Oh, a little 7-ounce glass handle on the side. Your beer never gets warm because it's not wrapped around it.
Not the best one. The best handle I've ever had is down in Anglers in Lawn.
Oh, yeah?
If you've ever been
Yeah,
there, right on near the pier.
Yep.
Like the coldest glasses you will ever have. One of the
I don't think there's anything better.
The best beer I've ever had. At the Anglers.
Hot day,
Yep.
cold 7-ounce glass.
Amazing.
What's your liquid of choice inside it?
Draft.
No, well, I've sort of probably matured on and some sort of mid-strength, but
I think he's responsible. So he's driving
I
home
know,
after
Great
it.
Northern. Yeah, probably Great Northern.
Great Northern.
Really?
Oh, Stone and Wood.
Yeah.
Stone and Wood. I love Stone.
Well, there was a photo of
Too
Hawk and
fruity.
I and a
Yeah,
couple of people
only
on the
a couple.
weekend, and we had 2 boxes of mid-strengths at our feet.
Yeah.
Tell me you're in your late 30s and you're a retired footballer, and without telling me you're in your late 30s and a retired footballer.
Favourite holiday destination?
Went overseas during this year's, I was going to say mid-season, but it wasn't. It was June, July holidays. And went to Greece, which is one of the most epic places I've been with the Cheesemans. And I for someone that hasn't done a lot of travelling, so again, like I touched on it, like the experiences of 2025, like travelling and has been awesome. So I look forward to doing more of that, but that was pretty epic.
Favourite brand? Brand.
Where are you shopping?
Yeah. Where do you shop?
Now that you don't have to wear blue and white every day of your life.
I shop at
you-
mainly online. This is gonna be so boring, but like AS Colour, like for just casuals, and then
That's a good one for the lads to know. AS Colour, good basics, boys.
Rod and Gun or RM, Williams.
He's
Probably.
loyal.
I am loyal, but I don't sort of go too far outside of what I know. So again, another reason why taking
I can't
Under the
escape
wing
this.
of-
I'm looking forward to this
I was
day.
waiting for the content.
Under
Now
the
I'm
wing
like,
of-
shit, I'm really locked in.
I'm hoping we end up at a place like Rod and Gun in Queenstown where there's a bar in it.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Is there one in Melbourne?
We can make it. Yeah, there's one at Chatty.
They've just opened.
Oh, there's one at
They've
Chatty.
just
And there's one in the city now. There's just opened in the city. Yeah.
Mate,
Bar,
I reckon we should
There
make
we
a
go.
day of it. Maybe invite 5 or 6 people along and we can do a whole day of it.
And then lastly, I'm going to ask the last question. If you could recommend one person left of field to come and sit with Isaac and I on this podcast to interview, who comes into your mind?
They don't have to have a profile. They can be anyone in the world.
Great question.
So Beck Madden last week dropped Sam Newman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've been listening to a bit of the Kelsey brothers.
Oh, yeah, they're good.
And I reckon Jason Kelsey would be an epic get. So
Great, he'll be easy to get.
NFL player.
Have you heard Jason?
Trav Kelsey's engaged to Taylor Swift.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
He's now an NFL fan.
Yeah.
So either of the Kelsey brothers, I love their humour. Like it's honest, it's real. They say it as I see it, a bit like both of you, genuine people. So I reckon either of Travis or Jason Kelsey.
Well, I'll get our people to call their people and see what we can make work.
That'd be great.
Anyone listening, do yourself a favour, and I'm sure there's a lot of fans because the Kelsey New Heights podcast is one of the top in Australia already. But go back and YouTube Jason Kelsey Super Bowl victory speech that he does to the Philadelphia locals. It is one of the great speeches.
Okay.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for that.
I haven't seen it. But he's passionate, isn't he?
Passionate, articulate, intelligent. And it's funny because he comes across sometimes as a bit of a scallywag when he's doing things. But he's very strategic and very intelligent in the way he operates.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
I will.
Thomas Hawkins.
Home.
Round of applause for the big man, for the GOAT himself, his little pink Labubu.
Thank you.
Until we see him on the farm.
Why are they so scary looking? Is that all of them?